welcome to our third Healthy Oceans, Healthy Minds talk. I'm Karina and I'm Projects and Events Officer at Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm Nicola. I'm the Community Development Officer at Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful, and me and Karina both work together on the Live Here, Love Here campaign.
Thanks, Nicola. Firstly, we'd like to say a massive thank you to our supporters at Ocean Conservancy, who have been so encouraging throughout this whole planning process. They're the international conservation body for, and we are the national coordinators for them here in Northern Ireland. And I'll stick a bit more about them in the chat so you can look them up later. We're delighted that you're able to join us for this session of talks called In the Deep End. We're hearing from some wonderful people immersed in communities, health, resilience, all connected by the love of the outdoors and how it affects them and their work and ultimately their mental health as well.
So through the campaign, we want to reconnect people with our seas and our waterways and our outdoor spaces, and to show the impact of what a healthy marine environment can have on our health and well-being. And we want to create a society that values the outdoors and the benefits that it can bring. So as Karina has said, this is our third session, so we're still finding our feet. I don't ever think we'll be professionals at this, but we'll hope that you find this evening's session valuable and worthwhile, and if not that, I hope you find it entertaining. So we just have a few Zoom rules that we just want to cover before the session begins. We're recording this session, and we've got it set up so it'll only record on speaker view. So whenever the person is speaking, they will be on camera, and that will be the only person that will be recorded on camera. But if you just want to, if you don't feel comfortable with being on camera, then you can always just turn your camera off. So do that if you don't want to feel comfortable being on camera. So please feel free to chat away using the chat functions, and later on in the session we will want to open it up to discussion, and that's where you can raise your hand, let us know you have a wee question, or if you want to pop your questions into the chat box, we'll raise them with Andrea and Graham as we move along. Okay.
Thanks, Nicola. So tonight, as Nicola said, we're joined by Andrea and Graham they're the founders of Peninsula Kelp Company, and their mission is to bring hand-dyed sustainable kelp and seaweeds to the land and make it accessible for everybody. So tonight we'll hear more about these wonderful ocean vegetables and how they can benefit our physical and mental health. We'll also hear about their journey and then their connection to the ocean as well. So thank you so much, guys, for giving up your evening for this session.
No problem. Not a problem. Glad to be here.
Thanks, guys. Can you both tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and how the Peninsula Kelp Company got started?
Well, I'm Andrea and this is Graham, and we are from Northern Ireland, and we live in a wee town called Newtownards, and we have a seaweed harvesting business. And how we got started was very interesting. Like, we've always been involved in the sea and we've always eaten seaweed all our lives, but after 8 years of staying at home being a mum, I just kind of felt there was more to me and decided to get my creative side going again. And I was childminding for 8 years, and I was, coming to the end of that, and I thought, I really just need to get back into all the things I used to do. So I started making soap. And I had said to Graham, one day he'd been out diving, I said, just bring me home some seaweed and I'll put it in the soap. And that's how we got started. And basically it just ran from there, because I just did a lot of charity work and did soaps for raising money for children's cancer and the RNLI. We did a couple of stalls and I just made soap for that. But the more feedback we got saying these are amazing, you should go into business, and people were knocking the door 24/7 for soap, I decided to do some more research, and I thought maybe I could do my own business. So the more research I did into the seaweed, the more I realized the potential to flip it around and put it into food, because the research was quite shocking, to be honest, that how many people with statistics that were lacking the vital nutrients that came from seaweed. So I literally did that. I just decided, no, I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to make some food. I'm going to try different things. And I started off thinking, well, how can I get it into people's diet without it just being in a pure raw form? Because I do know, just from, you know, some market research and things that we did, you either love it or you hate it, and I just wanted to get it into everybody's diet. So I started off just with seasonings, like little salt seasonings, and it just grew from there.
We found that when you mention the word seaweed, the word weed on the back of that just doesn't paint a good image. So we decided, let's be creative. We understand the value of ocean vegetables, and they're key to our nutrition. So we said, how can we bring this into people's diet and make it interesting? So take the weed out of it, but make it really, really good. So that's when our creative minds came together and said, right, what does everyone like? What can we use it for? We had the raw product, which was good, and then the salts came, and then the development of different types of salts. And it just really went from there, didn't it, Andrea?
Yeah, and to be honest, starting that way was a good way, because now the raw product actually is our best seller. So it's all come full circle.
A raw product, when we say the raw product, we mean the dulles, the kelp, and then we combine the two, the sea lettuce and the dulles together to make a lovely combination called sea greens, which is absolutely fantastic. So we've got a big diversity of different products, which we'll talk you through as we go along in the conversation. Do you want to take over?
Yeah, basically then from making the salt seasoning and then going back down to the local farmers market. Each time I did the market, which was at the beginning was once a month, I did all my market research there, and off the back of doing that, the next product was developed, and the same thing from the next one to the next one. And
but in the meantime, like I was a full-time commercial diver, and I knew I wanted to create something for us, something that just for us, and obviously working with Andrea, and her fantastic culinary skills, I could see the way we could combine both. Our love for the outdoors, our love for cooking, our love for social interaction. I love talking to people, reaching out to people. So it was very, very natural. There was no burden whatsoever. And I always wanted to work with the sea. I could never be without the sea. It's like my mistress, as Andrea would say. So that was key to stay with my roots in the ocean. I've been diving since 1975, and since I was a child, and I could never be without it. So it was so natural. So I not necessarily came up with the idea. I had ideas how to do it. I'm not unique in the sense, like people have been harvesting seaweeds for the millennia. So I just decided, how could we develop something for ourselves, and make it sustainable, make it very natural. So the hand diving of the kelp, just came into my mind, and we thought, well, how can we do this legally? Make it legal. How can we tick all the boxes and keep ourselves right, and yet be sustainable and educate people and do things so forth. So we devised a plan, and we approached the relevant authorities with our plan, and they thought we were nuts. They were like, "You want to do what?" And they were saying, like, I said, "I want to hand dive for seaweeds," and they were like, "Why would you want to do that?" And I explained to all of it, I want to be in the water. I don't want to be picking anything off the beach. That's important. So after a while, like, they did take me serious, but the first few times they thought, "You're nuts." So they threw some challenges my way. I think it was to deter me. So I went home. My commercial diving background served me well, because I was able to produce things I don't think they thought I could do. And I came back to them with a portfolio. And they were like, "Oh, okay. So we see where you're coming with this." And then they passed me on to a different department, and I had to talk through that. So it went on for quite a long time. And in the end, they said, "Yes, you're good to go." So then we had to go and...
Well, it took us about a year.
It took us about a year, but we had to actually source some seabed. So I got my fins on, my wetsuit, and I swam and I swam and I swam. I took pictures, I took soundings, I did surveyed the seabed, water qualities, listed all the seaweeds that I thought would suit our business. And from there, we formulated a lovely plan. And then I approached Queen's and asked for some advice. And they were like, you want to do what? And so working with the Marine Lab, they were really, really helpful. They're wonderful people. And they were able to guide me as well on different things. So I said to them, can I piggyback into your area? Because they have an area of scientific interest near ours. So they were like, yep, that would be fantastic. And Queen's Marine Lab are currently working on a lovely project with kelp at the moment, trying to find out about biofuels. So straight away, we had something really in common. And it was great. We were actually able to give them information because we're in the water regularly and we see things. Like I literally am an underwater farmer, underwater gardener. It's just like walking through your garden. I see things, and it's the subtle little changes that if you only randomly go, you'll never see. But I see things change because I'm there all the time. And I was able to guide them on, I see that type of fish, or I see that type of crustacean. And they were like, wow. And I see things changing all the time. So we were able to feed off each other. And so then we devised our rotational cropping plan, where we were given our section of seabed, and we had to come up with a way that we wouldn't damage the environment. Just like a farmer's field would, where he would plow, we would rotate our plan all the way through the year. So nothing gets overused, if you want to put it, over harvest. So we have like January, February, March, April, we move from different locations within our allocated area. So that's great. And I actually get to see when I cut the kelp, and when I go back 2 or 3 weeks there, I can actually see its regrowth. All I have is a knife, a scissors, wetsuit, mask, snorkel, fins, and a float, and a washing bag. And that's it, and it's attached to my waist. So I get to see the regrowths, and it's beautiful. So from there, more and more people became very interested in what we were doing, and I'm going to pass you over to Andrea here, because I'll let her talk you through the health benefits that we feel is really beneficial to people.
So we harvest kelp, dulles and sea lettuce, and each one is very individual. And as the biggest, so for instance, kelp is really, really high in iodine. It's from the brown seaweed family, and there's different variations of kelp. You have sugar kelp and lots of different variations, but kelp is extremely high in iodine in its raw form, and that is one of the vital nutrients that we're all lacking in our diet these days. It is getting harder and harder to come by. Now you can get iodine in, like, say, strawberries, for instance, but you need to eat pundons and pundons and pundons and pundons of strawberries for your daily your daily intake. But you also have to get past the pesticides and everything else that come with those. So in its raw form, you only need a tiny little bit of kelp for your daily recommendations. That's really, really high in iodine. And you can use it in everything and anything. We have a lot of we use it in everything.
We have it in everything.
But it is a really good alternative for a gluten-free pasta, for instance. We have some lovely people that come to the stall and buy it off us, and that's their main reason for using it. And they are gluten intolerant, and they use the kelp for the alternative to the pasta sheets, and they use it in their pasta. But you also have dulles. Now, like I said, each seaweed has different strengths and flavors. So kelp is really high in iodine, but has the least flavor of seaweed. It's quite mild, to be honest, and compared to the other two. So dulles then is
the bacon of the sea.
Yeah, the bacon of the sea. You'll probably hear a lot of people say that's the bacon of the sea. It truly is.
Even when you pan fry.
Yeah, when you take the salt, which we do when we harvest the seaweed, we take the sea salt off it, so you get the true flavors of the seaweed, and it has like a hint of bacon flavor to it. Now, it's extremely high in fiber and a wee bit lower in the content of iodine, so that's its main nutrient. And then sea lettuce is really, really low in iodine, but extremely potent seaweed. It tastes like the smell of seaweed, yes, and it's packed full of vitamin C, and it's hard to believe that something that comes from the sea is packed full of vitamin C, but there's more vitamin C in sea lettuce than there is in a bunch of oranges. It's truly remarkable. It also has the seaweeds also have other health properties, like minerals, copper, zinc, magnesium, potassium. And I know the sea greens, the little mixture that we do, is high in vitamin A, vitamin B2, B7, B9, B12, C and D, which is extremely good, especially the B7. It's quite hard to come by now. So that's the basic rundown of the main, the health products, the health benefits from the main raw products.
I grew up beside the sea, and we grew our vegetables in the garden in with seaweed, because it was there. We didn't have access to manure and stuff like that. My grandmother was a beachcomber, and my grandfather, so they would comb the beach all the time and bring us in a bag of seaweed, bag of driftwood, even coal that used to wash up on the beach from the boats coming in. So your potatoes was grown in kelp. The kelp was on you. So it was just a natural thing. And then there was kelp thrown in your stew. It was so natural. And when I moved here, there were certain things Andrea didn't use, but I also didn't use dulles an awful lot. We used more kelp, where Andrea used more dulles.
Yeah, dulles is very traditional.
I knew dulles, knew what it was, but never eaten it until Andrea actually said, "Right, there's a bag of dulles, go and eat that." But we use it a lot in our diet. And
the main reason for that is because, when you read, when you go in, when you work with Queens and you do different research and stuff, the statistics is frightening. There's 75% of, young children who are deficient in iodine, and it doesn't get picked up until later on in life, especially in women when they have like little symptoms that cohered with thyroid issues, and they go to the doctor, and then they find out through certain testing that they have a thyroid problem. But that's the main thing that drives me, to be honest, is the health benefits, to get involved and do something where I'm not only connected to nature, but I'm actually bringing the cycle from the sea to the land, creating that cycle, and bringing all the lovely sea ocean vegetables to your plate. And I have a real challenge in my hands sometimes, convincing people that this is amazing and you can do things. And so through our social media and stuff, I do little recipes, and I stand at the market every week and I just tell people you have to try it.
We found like a lot of people, again, dismiss the seaweed, dismiss kelp. So it became a real labor of love for us to actually start. We spent more of our time talking about it, and the more we talked about it, the more we felt we need to talk even more, because a lot of people are like, what? And they dismiss our ocean and our local waters. I'm like, you have no idea how important that is to us, our environment and humanity, and it's important that we take care of it. So again, we stand at the market and people come along, go, seaweed, disgusting. So then we tried to change people's ideas. So we did that visually. And to do that, I had to go and buy a GoPro, which was a game changer for us, because telling people the story from the tide to the table was crucial to to our success so far, to show what we actually do, like how I get in the water, what I wear, how far I swim, the conditions, and the beauty that I see. Like, you know, sometimes I just take pictures of like my daughter comes along and she's a little photographer, and she just takes pictures of me or underwater, and she captures some fantastic images. And as people go back, I show these, people go, where are you? Is this the Bahamas? I'm like, no, this is 5 miles up the road. And so that's opened people's eyes to our beaches, and they go, that can't be our waters. And I go, that is our waters. Our waters are clean, you know, they're cold and very nutrient rich. And if marine life is given a chance, it will thrive, you know. And having kelp around our coast is so important for our environment, for our marine life, you know, to create a habitat, for our coast. And then obviously, you know, our carbon footprint is you know, the kelp absorbs our carbon footprint. And then as a food source, it's just a plant that keeps on giving. You know, there's hundreds of vegetables in the ocean, and we grow none, and predominantly only one, which is the kelp. Like, and we're trying to change that for people. You know, Jacques Cousteau said many years ago, when I was a child, I remember listening to him, and he was talking about at some point, you know, the earth's going to become overpopulated, and the food sources, good food, is going to be in shortage, and there is the possibility we can feed people from the ocean. And I think we've lost that. But recently, Andrea and I had the pleasure of meeting a man from the United Nations, and they are starting to look at that. They are starting to look at possibly growing kelp on massive scales within wind farms offshore, with the view to changing, you know, food shortages in third world countries. You know, looking at kelp in a way to make things different, make things easier, and things better for human life.
Feeding it to the animals, for the people who do eat meat, feeding it to the animals as well, because the biggest
cuts down on methane.
Yeah, the biggest thing about the seaweed is it promotes gut health, whether it's for humans or animals. And whenever the animal eats it, the animal is healthier, so it needs less vaccines and less vet bills and so on. So it's naturally a healthier animal for those people who eat animals then. So it's a you know, further down the line. So they're looking at that for those reasons as well. But, you know, in saying for us to eat it, promoting our gut health is extremely important. When it's out of balance, the bacteria is out of balance, then generally that's why we get sick. And our immune systems are so intelligent that you know, it needs the support to keep it, you know, in tip-top condition. And you'll find, like we do find this, and we listen to people all the time, that when they eat it, they'll go, I don't know what it is, but I can't stop eating it. It's very interesting how your body tells you what it needs. No, I mean, your brain can also tell you what it needs. It's like loads of sugar, and, you know, but necessarily good for you. But it's really interesting, those conversations with people when they eat it, and how better they feel and how it works for them.
We found that doing what we do, we've made it easier for people to get their hands on good quality products. As I said, ours comes from the seabed, not from the shore. It's all done under our own power. I hold my breath. I see some questions popping up there on the page, which I'll be very, very happy to answer at the end. So I'm not ignoring anyone. So everything is done on our own steam, and that's the way I want it to be, sustainable. We both work with the sun, the moon, the tides, and the stars. And when they align, then that enables us to go to work. You know, this week now has been challenging because the winds have changed direction. And when they change direction, they upturn the seabed, and I can't see what I'm going to dive down into. So sometimes it's like diving in a tin of Coke. It's really, really dark. But then sometimes it's like diving in a bottle of gin. You know, it's so crystal clear, and I have to pinch myself and go, wow, this is truly amazing. You know, I wear a 7 mil wetsuit most of the year. I in the summer sometimes wear a 5 mil wetsuit, so I'm out 12 months of the year. I'm used to the cold now, quite conditioned to it, and I could be in anything in the water for up to possibly 3 hours. In the winter you kind of get it in your fingertips and on your toes, so I just wear woolly socks, and I swim faster in the winter. It's a family affair. I say they're all involved in their own way. My two daughters, they're happy enough to get in the water. My eldest daughter would be into the photography element, and so she'll come along, take videos, take pictures, and then we'll do our editing together. The little one then would be into more social media, and she actually guided us tonight how to set this thing up. And so she would help us with the creativity. They're both really good artists, and they're into drawing and painting things related to the sea. So it's good that we all feed off each other, the design of the packaging. We sit down and we tie it and go, oh no, that's not going to work, or blah blah blah. So it's a family affair. Like they come with me. They both go off and do their own harvesting. Like I'll say, right, Erica, you go get sea lettuce, and she knows where to go to get the sea lettuce. And Andrea will go get the kelp, and I'll maybe go get the dulles with Leah, and then Leah will document everything, and then we come back and we compile all our bits and pieces together. But it's a lot of fun sometimes it's too much fun that I say, right guys, we need to work here. Either the tide's coming in or the tide's going out, and so come on. And they're like, they just want to play. And then sometimes we're lucky or fortunate enough that a little maybe seal will come along, and he'll swim in. They'll kind of keep their distance, but they come in and they investigate us. And then a shoal of fish, and so the girls do get distracted quite a lot. But from there we sort of work really well together. I can't complain. It's actually really, really nice to have your children working with you.
Yeah, and involved with you, and it's great for their little well-being as well. There's nothing greater doing something as a family and us all being involved. And we've had our challenges with well-being over the years and stuff, and my eldest daughter, especially with school and exams and stuff like that. And then I grew up as well with lots of mental health issues in my family, and the sea has always been at the forefront of that. It's always been there for us and supported us and helped us at different stages with it.
I think when you're in the sea, I know for me, and I'm sure Andrew would say the same thing, to tell you this is when I'm there, I'm 100% there. It's very reviving. You tend to throw your worries off and throw your daily the labor of your on your shoulders. So you're there and you just relax. You're in that medium, and you're just so involved with what's going on. And I find for me, it kind of resets me. I get in the water and I feel very rejuvenated, if I'm saying that correctly, and alive, feeling really alive. And when I come out of the water, and it may be raining, but I still feel so good, both mentally and physically. And I come home in a high, feeling that high, and it's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's our office now, I mean, it is our place where we go, and it is a lifestyle for us, and I just love sharing all that as much as we can, and that's why we have the GoPro, to help everybody and share that. But there's nothing more, it's so remarkable how you feel.
It washes away your worries.
It does. Yeah. It's rejuvenating. It definitely is. And so one of our products we have is a seaweed bath, and anything that you put on your skin absorbs 10 times quicker into the bloodstream than taking a pill and swallowing it by the time it gets through the digestive tract. So it's one of those lovely products, that if you want instant little hit of relaxation, iodine, it's detoxifying as well. I don't know whether a lot of people know this, but seaweed actually does pull a lot of heavy metals out of your body, and we are coming across this more and more every day, with things that are actually in our water, and you know, fluoride and lots of different things that aluminium and things that we consume. So seaweed does do that. It's one of those magic things about it. It pulls the heavy metals out of your system. So when you have a little bath, it helps to detoxify that, and then all the lovely oils that naturally come from that rejuvenate your skin, and it helps with lots of skin conditions, and you know, so it just really promotes good health. It's fantastic.
And you also have one of the best sleeps after it. It's it's amazing. And so we offer that, you know, bring that to people, and then we infuse it with a lavender sort of tea bag. It gives a lovely scent, and we sort of try to bring that to people, you know, who don't have access to seaweed baths. Like, so we would ship our seaweeds to like Arizona, a place like that. People want to have seaweed bath from Ireland. So it's been amazing. Some of the best seaweeds in the world come from our coast,
Ireland is one of the most rich nutrient waters in the world. Ireland, Scotland, Norway, really cold, rich nutrient water, and really good clean water too.
It's something we see more of. More and more people now, and especially during this lockdown period, have actually turned to the sea. Because we're on the water, on the beach a couple of times a week, we see more and more people of all ages and of all walks of life going into the water. And on this journey, we've, you know, we cross paths with these people. And the feedback we're getting is, this is amazing. I've lived beside the sea all my life and I've never been in it. But during lockdown, not having access to gyms or whatever, they decided to go back into the water, and they're feeling amazing. You know, I had a 65-year-old woman stood in front of me last week, and she said, my life has been turned around because of having the time to go to the sea during lockdown. She says, now it's part of my life. And I feel, and she said exactly the way I said, I come out of the water, my worries are washed away, and I feel rejuvenated.
I think that's the great thing about actually the good positive thing that's came out of COVID really is, it's made people realize,
slow down.
You know, we all have 24 hours in our day, and it's what we do with those 24 hours that's really important. And it's the same with your nutrition. It's making good choices and taking time to have make time to make good nutrition food, because, you know, we can get caught up in this rat race and forget about the important things, the values of life. And that's what we find was happening to us, you know, before we started doing our little business. And that was the thing, I think, that we were
busy, but we weren't living.
Yeah,
we were busy, you know. And so it's enabled us to really focus and really do what we want. It's been challenging, we're not going to lie. We've had some obstacles, but we both look at the obstacles more as a challenge than, you know, be defeated from it. So sometimes we do hit a wall, and it's like we go, right, okay, let's step back from here and take a look at this problem. And as I said, I'm a firm believer of, you must eat the elephant bit by bit. In other words, break your problem down into very, very small, minute things, and break it apart, and then, you know, come at it from a different direction. And working together, you know, we just, you know, we don't believe in being competitive. We believe in being creative. You know, we want longevity with our business, and with our health. It's key. You know, it's like Andrea's approaching middle age now, and so we want longevity. We have 2 lovely children, and we want to be around for them. And like, you know, we think differently than we did 20, 30 years ago. You know, we look at things, and we look at our nutrition. We look at, you know, our mental health. We look at, you know, our, you know, well-being in a big spectrum.
Yeah, it's not just about, you know, your well-being. It's everything.
It's everything.
It's your mental health, your physical health, your nutritional health, your spiritual health. It's getting them everything in balance. And I think that's the thing about well-being. You know, it's so easy, people throw out these things and say, oh, catch yourself on and get with it. No, it's not as easy as that. And you know, my mum suffered with mental health all her life, and I watched her be a prisoner in her own mind, and it really held her back. And you know, I bring my kids up differently because of what I've seen. And you know, my mum never really got outdoors because her mind wouldn't let her, and unfortunately she never got the right help. You know, they just drugged her and she just became a zombie. And you know, I just seen a different side of it. So for me, you know, I love talking about things like this and, you know, sharing things and enlightening people in any shape or form, you know, because you are what you think, you know, and you are what you eat, and you are who you hang out with.
Yeah,
there's lots of elements to it. So any opportunity I get to, you know, throw that little bit out there, I will.
and I think it became more and more evident for me anyway during the lockdown period, when we were under restriction, you know, exactly what we could do, you know, like we love to go to the Mediterranean and, you know, the Greek Isles and things like that. You know, the holidays were out. But this year, to be honest, we feel it's been slightly robbed from us. But so we had to sort of come up with ideas, and then it became more and more evident to us to explore local. And literally, if it was take a flask of tea and a couple of sandwiches and your raincoat and go and explore something that was up the road. And there may not be nothing there, but we did it as a family anyway. And there was laughter, there was joking, there was like, oh, Dad, what did you take us here for? Because there's nothing. Well, at least we know there's nothing there. But we got outside and we were together. And we may have got wet, mucky, but it was good for you, you know, because Xbox doesn't give you memories. They go, oh, do you remember you took us up that hill? And I laugh about it. So there was a lot of that during lockdown. There was a lot of, right, kids, let's go. Where are we going today? I don't know. I have a map. We're just going to see where this road leads. And we actually drove around Strangford Lough, looking for camping places, none that we could find anyway, but just to find little unknown hidden gems within our local environment. And then we come back and we share that with people. And they go, oh, I don't know where that is. And again, we found that to be really, really good for our mental health, was to get outside and just explore local.
We do that generally anyway.
But we made it more of an effort.
And I think, you know, we started off with our business just doing market stalls once a month, and then the little market stalls led to weekly stalls, and then we had an opportunity last year to take on a little shop, which we did in Newtonards, and unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we had to close it and not reopen it. There was lots of things, lots of different reasons, but the challenges of that, you know, like a lot of people, if you really wanted it to hold you back, it can and it will. But we decided that we're not going to look at it as much as it was a loss. We're not going to look at it that way. We're going to see it's just a challenge that we have to overcome and adapt. So we just took ourselves home one night, and we decided that if we don't reopen, you know, what are we going to do? And we sat down, and we did have a few tears. We did kind of think.
I'm gonna just back up there and say, like, our life was changed within 1 week. I'd been a commercial diver for years, and all of a sudden I wasn't a commercial diver anymore, and there was no work on the foreseeable horizon. And there was a bit of an identity crisis, because I was like, well, this is what I do. This is my job. And I don't have that job anymore. You know, although I did the seaweed and the kelp, my full-time job was as a commercial diver, and I loved it. And it was taken from me on a Wednesday. And then we were told to close the shop on the Saturday. So within 1 week, everything we had was gone. And there was some dark moments after that. There was lots of tears. You know, the feeling of maybe being cheated a bit. and it hurt, and we were very sad because we were emotionally attached to our little shop. We loved the whole idea of having a little farm shop in the town, and it
was a new big
it was a
adventure
new,
for us. It was part of our
big
plan.
adventure,
Yeah.
and it just gave us that. It was really nice, but
It wasn't meant to
it
be.
wasn't meant to be, not this time anyway. And so, we were very sad, but taking time to think about it, we looked at like, okay, it's gone, my job's gone, right? What can we do now? Where's the lining in this cloud? Because there's always a lining in the cloud, always is. You just got to look at things in a different manner. You got to look for the positives and be grateful for what you have.
Well, I always say you have to face the fear and do it anyway. That's my motto.
We decided, we believe in, if you're failing, it's because you're not being resourceful enough. Everything is at our fingertips right now. Back when my kids don't understand, when we were really young, we had to get encyclopedias out or go to the library to find things. Now it's instant. So everything is at your fingertips. So for us, it was a Sunday night. We'd had our phone call with our Minister of Finance, and that was 90 minutes of our life we'll never get back, but we won't go there. So I actually said to Andrea, and as hard as it's going to sound, I said, there's no one coming to help us now, Andrea. It's up to us. We are on our own. So we opened a bottle of wine, and Andrea made this wonderful cheese spread. We're using mostly all our products, and we're sitting there beside in the living room, and we're just sort of drowning our sorrows a bit. And I said to Andrea, I have to say, on a positive note, what you've made here tonight is absolutely lovely, and you really, really, really should bring that to the public, And the two of us sat there, and we're like, you're right. And from there, we developed another product, and the Captain's Table cheese board was born. And the reason why we called it a Captain's Table was, when I was a young man and I was away on the high seas, when you were invited to the Captain's Table, you always knew you were going to eat well. And I figured what we had in front of us, we were going to eat well that night.
And so, I think we felt that, it was a real luxury for people to have at the time, is what they needed.
Yeah. And
being locked down and everything, we just thought, let's take a picture of this, throw it out, see what the feedback is. And
food is good for your morale.
Yeah, and that was it. The Captain's cheese board just took off, and it saved us, to be honest. It's been flying ever since, and we're tweaking it all the time. We've also come across an upgrade called the Admiral box, and we're just always creating stuff.
We've even been asked people to ship our Captain's Table cheese board to Dubai, which is tricky. Yeah, very tricky.
As far as our products are concerned, we do seaweed butters, we do dulles crackers, little salt seasonings, hickory smoked dulles oils. This is one of our packaging here. This is just our dulles flakes. The sea greens is a wee mixture of kelp, dulles and sea lettuce. This is absolutely superb. It's great for smoothies, to be honest. I have a couple of really good recipes. I have a heavy metal detox smoothie, which we put the dulles in, and then I have a sea green smoothie, which is packed full of vitamin C that we use that for. So
it's even, if I may say, that sea greens is even nice in your porridge.
Yes, I mean, there's nothing you can't put it in. There's nothing you can't put it in.
You're really limited by your imagination and what you can use it for.
But our most recent product is our Kelp Popcorn, and it's just outstanding. It's flying. So yeah, we have a little trail mix where Graham and I came up with the idea years and years ago. We used to go hill walking, and we always made our own trail mix, and lo and behold, all these years later, now we have a product called trail mix, where you put seaweed in and you nibble on when you're out having a little dander with the dog or up the mountains or whatever. But yeah, that's it.
We spent a lot of time when we were younger in the Alps, the French Alps, and we were always coming up with different snacks, and we would take a big Ziploc bag and we'd put everything in it. Everything. And we'd have whose recipe was the best. And over the years, we just developed our own recipe. And now we actually have that as one of our products. But I have to say, if you ever buy it, try it with M&Ms. It's peanut M&Ms is really, really nice. So you get like crunchy, sweet, salty, savory, absolutely lovely. You know, so again, as I said, we're not about being competitive, it's about being creative and just sharing the message of what we're doing.
Fantastic. Guys, sorry, I really hate to interrupt. You are on such a good flow, and I think it's just your genuine passion and enthusiasm that could have you talking here.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I just want to maybe just if you want to just quickly kind of talk about maybe what the future is for Peninsula Kelp Company, and then we can open up to take some of the questions that have been coming through.
I'll let Andrea take that one.
The future really is about expanding, really, and we are to get our license to start off with. We are licensed from the Crown Estate. We rent the seabed from the Crown Estate, and we are hoping to build a 3D ocean farm. That's going to take a lot of work and a lot of money to do so. To get through all the paperwork and the red tape, it is just.
It's a very simple concept,
but it's hard work.
But the work that's involved for that is extremely difficult. But
it takes a very long time.
But that's something that we'd like to do later on, because we'd like to reseed and regrow.
So we keep it sustainable.
Yeah.
And by us doing that, then we can reach more people.
But also too, is we create our own habitat.
Yeah.
We grow more kelp. We create more of a habitat. We encourage more marine life to come in. It affects our carbon footprint.
To create that cycle from land to sea, because
you want to talk about the allotments?
Yeah. So just really quickly, that's what's missing in the soil these days. You know, years ago there was iodine in the soil. Everything is getting stripped from the nutrients from the soil now, so we don't have the same nutrients in our fruit and veg. So it's to create that cycle again, bring all that back. And we're actually going to be doing a lot of blogging and things now. We've took on an allotment. We make our own fertilizer from the seaweed that we have left over that we can put into the food products, and we're putting that now in, and we're going to show people how to grow vegetables.
We'd like to educate more. And do outreach, you know. And do you know what we would really like to do? Like beach cleanups and cookouts. When we can, is like get people together, teach them about the sea, help clean the beaches, and cook some lovely meals on the beach. The simple things, you know, that's doesn't cost the earth, but you'll walk away with good memories. So I would say that's the future for us, is just keep growing, you know. So look, I'm happy to take any questions you want.
Thanks so much, guys. That's, I don't know about everybody else, but like your journey from where you started to where you are and bringing something to people that you're so passionate about, it's incredible. So yeah, we'll open up to questions. There's a few questions here. Just let me scroll up to the top. Yeah, so one of the questions is, where can people buy your products? So Nicola's posted some stuff into the chat there about your online shop, but can you tell us a bit more about like where your markets are and things like that?
Yes, so we do a couple of markets. We do a monthly market the first Thursday of every month in Cumber. Unfortunately, it's a Thursday, but it runs from 9 till about 2 o'clock every Thursday, first Thursday of every month. Then we do a weekly market in Newtonards, and it runs from 9 o'clock to about 3:30 every Saturday. We're doing a lot of Christmas pop-up events in Bangor, Market Fresh. We might do a couple odd ones in St. George's. It all just depends on with the lockdowns and everything, but you can get us. We have a small website, which is www.peninsulakelpco.com, and you can reach us there, or social media. Anybody reaches out to us on social media, we can
we do our best to get back
to deliver. We deliver cheese boards from there. You can message us from there. and you know, anything you want, we can get it to you.
Just don't be shy. Just PM us, and you know, we're happy to talk to people. We got a lot of questions, and you know, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. You know.
Fantastic. Okay. A question came in from Anne McCall, and she asked, how deep do you need to dive to harvest the kelp?
Well, it depends. I work in a tidal area. So on high water, it can be anything up to 5 to 6 meters when I'm working a particular kelp bed. On low water, it can be half a meter. It depends on where I'm going and what I need, because my area is quite vast. I have a, you know, if I want to go to the furthest point of about a 400-meter swim from the shore, and which can be challenging on the way back when I'm towing like a couple of kilos of kelp in the bag behind you. So it really depends on the time of the tide. You know, if it's high water and the conditions are good, I know I'm going to work for it, because it could be anything to 5 to 6 meters to drop to the seabed.
Holding your breath.
Holding my breath, and then, you know, work my area, what I need. Like some chefs would phone me up and say, I need kelp tonight. I'm going to make a vegan dish. So I'll go put my wetsuit on, swim out, drop down onto a particular kelp area, get the kelp, go back. And that could be like 5 or 6 meters, you know, dropping down each time. If you go onto our Instagram, we try to tell that story and show people, you know, all the pictures, you know, and little videos my daughter makes of us to actually show people what we do.
Amazing. Trudy has asked, how low down do you cut the stalks of the kelp?
Oh yeah, we always cut above the font.
Font, yeah.
If you don't cut above the font, then you know it's a disaster.
You don't need to take it all the way. The root is key, to leave the root there, because it grows back.
Okay. Bye.
So say
Bye.
You have the root, and so we never really, you know, we never take the whole lot, you know.
Yeah, as long as you cut above the font, then it grows back, you know. So
Yeah.
you're not deplenishing or just what's the word I'm using?
You're basically leaving it to grow back, and it
yeah.
grows back really quick. It's the second fastest growing plant in the world. So I see the regrow quite quickly.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Trudy has actually, you've joined us tonight from Jersey, and so she's told us a wee bit in the comments about how the cow pastures were traditionally fertilized with seaweed.
Yes.
As farmed, the cows had less stillbirths and better milk, and but however, it's never really developed the tradition in eating the seaweed apart from using, is it carrageen?
Carrageen, yeah, that's a real traditional one. But like, I mean, there's so many different seaweeds that you can use. Carrageen was mostly used years and years ago for
if you're sick.
Yeah, if you were sick. It was one of those ones that you just went to the beach and you got sick. But it's used in a lot of products now, you know, for thickening agents and
ice cream, toothpaste,
ice creams, jams and stuff.
You'd be surprised if you actually Google and see what carrageen is used for. When we were sick as kids, you got soup. It was put in your soup.
Yeah, you would just boil it in some water, and you'd have this like gloopy kind of stuff that you had to just, you know, endure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Trudy also asked about the drying process. Is that?
Our drying process is natural. Is we use the sun. The winter it takes that longer time because the sun doesn't get so high at air latitude, so it's air dried, you know. But we don't do any mechanical means at all that. And like, I get people who say to me, can you give me 50 kilos of dulles next week? And I'm like, no. And they're like, why not? Because I'm going to pay you. Well, I go, because I physically couldn't do that. You know, that's not what we're about, you know. There was a lady there said about, if we expand the areas, will we still do by hand? Yes, we will. We will still, there'll be no machinery involved, no machinery whatsoever. Not into it, not doing it, because I've seen the damage that it does do.
Yes, it's very important to protect the marine life.
You know,
I mean, it's their home, it's their habitat, and like, it's like we're only visitors.
Yeah.
You know, we're only visitors, so it's very important for us to, you know.
The way I see it is leave only bubbles, take only memories. I once, many years ago, went diving behind a scallop boat, and the devastation that I experienced was unnatural. The seabed was ripped to shreds.
And there is massive seaweed companies out there who do it with machines and stuff, but that's definitely not for us. I don't know how they get away with it and do it that way, because it just takes everything with it. It destroys the whole.
You also have micro marine life that grows within the kelp. Like when I'm cutting my kelp, I always make sure I'm not taking anything home with me. The one time I did take a crab home with me, and the kids gave me an awful time because they brought a crab home and he died. Another time I took a crab home and they made me get in the car and drop him back and put him in the water. So it's key that, you see so many little baby snails, little small crustaceans. I see a lot of like spider crabs, mini spider crabs will be in the kelp. There's even fish. I see fish nibbling on the kelp. So if you were going along with a machine, just cutting all that, you're gonna take that, you're going to take marine life with you, so it'll definitely be done by hand, definitely.
Fantastic. Another one, Amanda had asked, and I'm quite interested in that one as well, but what is it the kelp that you use in the seaweed bath product?
No.
Or what kind of?
No, we use bladderwrack. There's different forms of kelp. There's different types of kelp. There's different types of bladderwrack. There's the little bubble bladderwrack that a lot of people see is quite common, and then there's serrated bladderwrack. So we use both serrated and the bubble. The reason why it's the best for the skin. It's where all the natural oils come from. It's unbelievable. So you can ingest it, but I leave that more for the other companies that want to make the tablets and stuff, because
they
have the ability of transforming it into that kind of product. But it's not one that I'd recommend anybody to eat with the bladderwrack. It's quite hard on the digestive system.
It can be done if you have the ability to do it, but we don't. So we find it's really, really good for skincare and mental health. Your mental wellness after a bath and your skin, amazing.
Yeah, so bladderwrack would be the one we use for the seaweed bath. Yeah,
amazing. Anne has asked, what are you growing in your veg beds?
I'll let the boss take over there.
Well, we love chard, kale, onions, potatoes. We've leeks at the minute, and celery, especially. Celery in my house is one of the biggest vegetables we eat. We juice our celery, and we have that every morning on an empty stomach. Because whenever you juice celery, it's the crystal salts in the celery is extremely good for your stomach, your digestive system, and your gut health. So along with that, then we would have that. Then we do a little seaweed smoothie, and I could put the ingredients up for you and give you a nice little smoothie to have with sea greens. It's phenomenal. But that sets us up for the day. That's with the vegetables. Look,
somebody allotment.
That's something. The allotment is like, we'll do a lot more this year. But it's all seasonal. It's all seasonal vegetables. So we've got a couple of apple trees in there at the minute, and we'll do a little bit of fruit next year. But the biggest thing we're doing right now is kale, chard, leeks.
We're going to prepare the soil, using the kelp, and get the soil ready for next year.
Yeah, work on that through the winter.
So we're going to work on that on our allotment, and that's where we develop Project Blue to Green. And we're going to sort of develop a blog for people to watch us, because we literally have nothing. We just took a patch of ground, and we begged Bill and start to get a little shed up. We made our plant beds, and we're setting the soil up, and then we're just going to get everything working over the winter, and then get a good run at growing our veg, and hopefully become our own sustainable. This COVID or this lockdown has taught us about sustainability for ourselves.
Yes.
To be able to grow our own vegetables.
Our own organic vegetables.
Yeah.
That's the key for us as a family. We've grown always here at home, but we've run out of space, and so the allotment we can do it on a bigger scale.
We have a little herb boat in the front garden where we would grow a range. Andrew would grow a range of things, of herbs. So it's lovely. You're cooking fish on a Saturday evening. You can go out and cut your own chives. Come back in, and we have our things like that. So sustainability is key for us. You are what you eat. and it's, you know, to recharge on nature is key. Like nature is a drugstore.
Yeah.
So to go back to the as close as you can physically get to the natural plant, the natural product is key. Is key, you know.
And the thing about it is, like, you know, just growing something with no pesticides and no nasties in your soil, and I just want to be able to do this so I can share those things with as many people as I can, because you can do it in your own back garden.
You have a relationship with your food,
yeah,
and you should know where it comes from. You should know what you're consuming, because there's so much really poor food on the market these days. And I know people say, oh, I haven't got time for this, but we need to develop, slow down, and eat good food, because then we'll have less problems. Yeah.
You talk about there about like sharing the products with people. Are you, once you get established and you get sorted, are you guys going to be selling your seaweed fertilized vegetables at your stalls?
Oh, wouldn't that
do you
be
know
great?
what? That would be absolutely
great?
lovely. I mean, for people to buy my hand-grown products, I'd be absolutely humbled by that.
Yeah.
That is a possibility in the future.
Yeah.
As I said, you know, we're going to work hard over the next few months and get our soil ready, and fingers crossed we could have a good harvest next year.
Well, I have lots of plans and I have lots of ideas up my sleeve, and I would like to use some vegetables and things in my products as well, you know, so that'll all, when it all grows. Yeah, it'd be good.
Brilliant. We've got another couple of questions in from Trudy. So where do you go to get the seaweed tested to guarantee top quality? And also, are you using pepper pulse?
Pepper dulles.
Oh, pepper dulles. Oh, we use it at home ourselves. We don't put it in our products. Pepper dulles is really good. Really good, absolutely. We get
Food Standards Agency.
Yes, it's the environmental health would help us along there with our, you know, testing, and Queen's University are quite good.
What I would say to you is the water quality on our area is tested quite a lot by the Department of Environment. Yeah. In fact, they do test it. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's every second Monday. The water quality is tested, and we have a tide that runs through there. I'm on the periphery of this tide, and it's 6 knots, so it's quite fast when you're out in the tide. So the water quality change, you know, the water quality is quite good, and it clears very quickly. So I very, very seldom come across any, you know, debris on the seabed. Plastics, I'm actually very lucky. I don't see plastic. And when we do go, if we ever do find something that doesn't belong there, we always take it home anyway.
We always do a little beach comb.
We always do.
We always take a little bit off the beach. You do get some on the beach though, but like we don't come across much when we're swimming. You know.
I see a lady's asking about water quality. It's I'm not too sure which website it's on. It's on one of the DIRAs, but you can find out around the Northern Ireland coast to where they test the water, and the water qualities. You know, you say you live in Dundrum. I would contact DIRA. They will put you in the right department where to find out your water quality. That's why
the area that we picked to harvest the seaweed was key for those reasons, because we have high tides, and
you know, we have a fantastic circulation of tides.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, on where I am, it can be anything up to 6 meters to half a meter. So it's key that we have that circulation of water. As I said, the Food Standards Agency, environmental health, they're very stringent. They don't suffer fools gladly at all, and they're very stringent in what they do.
They keep a close eye.
Keep a close eye on us, and we have actually a good working relationship with them. Yeah. They're very, very supportive and very helpful. If you know, they're not to be feared; they're to be worked with, and they come and they basically, you know, they take your product and they go, that's not going to work, that is going to work, get that done, and we have to follow suit. But they test your products for, you know.
Yeah, they test our seaweed.
So.
Brilliant. Nicola's actually put into the chat there a few links to the DIRA websites for water quality and bathing water quality there as well. So you can check that out later on. Guys, there's one more question here. It's why do you guys choose to harvest the seaweed from the water rather than on the beach?
Well, the reason why, and this is the reason why I would not eat anything from the beach, because the beach is full of E. coli and things, you know. There's so many dog walkers and all that kind of stuff, and there's just no way I would harvest from the beach. You know, I prefer to go out to the seabed, know where it's come from. It's still attached. Everything's still attached. There's nothing being washed in, washed out.
It's like I'm on the beach on a regular basis, right? And you come down the beach and there's tons and tons and tons of kelp lying on the beach. A storm has come in and basically swept through the kelp bed and lifted everything that hadn't got a good solid foundation and lifted it onto the shore. You don't know how long that's been there. You know, that could be there 24 hours, 48 hours, 70, whatever. And then you have it starts to decay, and then you have dog walkers walking along, and you know yourself. I explained that to you. It's where my I know when I go to the seabed, I go to the seabed with my knife and my scissors. I'm taking something that's alive, cutting it, and it's coming straight to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's a win-win for me. Like, you know, it's coming from the raw product. It's still alive, you know, and I'm taking it. You know, yeah, it's just
and you know, it's not like it's like seaweed does have a massive shelf life of 2 years, but it's like taking a product off the shelf in Tesco's that's like pre-packed and pre-cut. It doesn't have the same nutrients as coming straight from the plant, you know. So there's a lot of reasons why we do it, but they're the main
hygiene is key for us. Hygiene. And I know exactly where it's coming from. It's, you know, I don't know where that seaweed's been lying on the beach. I don't know where it's come from, how long it's been lying there, and who's urinated on it or done whatever. So I know exactly where it's coming from. It's coming straight from the seabed because I've cut it. You know, as I said to you, we have a relationship with our food, and I know where my seaweed come from. So that was key.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Well, I think the last question of the night is going to come from me and Karina both. So we sort of have a signature question that we've been asking all our contributors. So okay, basically, what is your relationship to the coast or inland waterways? So what does the coast and the ocean and the sea mean to you?
The cycle of life, I would say. It's everything. It is about life. It means everything. It literally is the cycle of life, and without it there would be no us. You know, everything comes from the sea, everything goes back out to sea, and we've had a very special relationship with that all our lives, and especially lately. And it's really amazing to be able to have a lifestyle and
to be able to work with the sea,
and to actually have a business and where we can provide and share. You know, so it's on a beautiful coast, on a beautiful island, you know. Yeah.
Like, you know, we've never had a bad day walking to the beach and going to the beach, and you know, it's everything. Like, you know, although we do go to the mountains a lot, like we never far from the sea.
But we've always canoed, and we've always snorkeled, and we've always my eldest daughter is 18, and she had a wetsuit when she was 6 months. And the girl's no different. Leah's now studying marine biology. You know, it's just a life cycle.
Yeah, it's been great for us. You know, I can't complain in any way at all.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, guys, and thanks for sharing everything tonight. All your tricks and tips and insights into everything about kelp and your journey as well. It's been really, really interesting. Thank you everyone else for joining us tonight. We know that Zoom fatigue is a thing, and I've said it before, so I'm going to say it again. It is difficult now, isn't it, to join on loads of Zoom calls. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed this evening, and if you know of anyone who has missed tonight and wants to catch up with it, these videos will all be on our YouTube page in the next few days or so, and we've loads more talks and blogs coming up in the next couple of weeks, and we'd love to see you all there. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say, if anyone wants to talk to us, ask us any more questions, you'll find us on social media, and we do our best to get to everyone.
Yeah, and like our little Saturday market's really well worth a trip, as we're always, every week we do something different. We'll bring some Dulles sourdough, or we'll bring little olives with seaweed. We always try to bring something different and always keep it a bit interesting, just to show you that you can do this at home.
Brilliant. I think I'm definitely going to get one of those captain's tables. They look amazing.
They are amazing. They are really amazing.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. All the best.
you.
Thank you,
Take
everyone.
care.
All the best. Cheerio. Bye-bye. 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 Bye.